something in me just felt like this place was for me. And a lot of people know this about me. I'm a little competitive, very competitive. In my heart, I don't know if it was really my heart or my head or my ego, probably my ego, but I wanted to create a mountain out of a molehill.
I remember when this building was a freshman campus, and the bands were in the LGI, and it was just freshmen, and we were thinking, they're crazy for building a second high school because there weren't enough kids.
The room that we're in now, I'm not familiar with in terms of like being in here as a student. So this is probably like 3 times bigger than what we had. If I'm remembering right, I think the orchestra room now is what we used as a band room.
I taught some lessons and I helped get the drum line started. I put together the first drum line and it was like 8 kids.
I remember the first time that we had a winter percussion program. I remember it being a new concept to me. I'd never heard. I was like, wait, you can take what we're doing outside and also do it inside, but without all of those wind players? Oh, sign me up. Let's go.
We did our first winter percussion show in 2007, and then 8, 9, 10, 3 years after that, we were 14th place at WGAI. I knew this program wouldn't grow unless we brought the same success that percussion had into the rest of the band and guard program.
The first time I experienced the Fishers Band actually was in 2010, and wandered in and came up to the parking lot and saw 9 color guard members and wondered where the rest of the guard was. But from then on, I started helping the band that fall just a little bit, and then in 2011, when Shay started, I came on staff.
The band was definitely starting to grow more and more. We were getting more numbers, we were getting more people involved. I think my involvement with the cadet guard in my 7th and 8th grade year really carried over because we had a decent amount of 8th grade guard girls as well.
As the band grew, the booster program needed to grow with the band in order to be able to financially support all of the things the directors had envisioned and dreamed for the program. So one of the challenges was, where do we find the money to do that? And that's where we started to focus a lot of time and effort on looking at fundraising from a different lens.
First year we did the Invitational, which was done for 2 reasons: to get a national panel in here, but also as an event that would be a major fundraiser. We made more money in that first event than we did the year before in fundraising in total.
Joining us from Fishers, Indiana, please welcome the Fishers High School Marching Band.
I remember the first time Fishers Band went to a BOA regional. It was in Louisville, Kentucky. And nobody had no idea what we got ourselves into. Nobody expected to make finals. So I remember Charlie Coons being like, what? We have to stay here till midnight? And we were all like, who cares? We made finals. It was awesome.
We would attend Grand Nationals. We'd be watching Carmel, and we'd be watching Avon, and we'd be watching Ben Davis, and LT wasn't a thing when I was there. It was Lawrence Central and Lawrence North.
With Grand Nationals, we weren't even close to making it. So typically we would be the host and just volunteer and be there so that we could learn and watch other bands.
We were not making semi-state even. We would get to regionals and be excited by the prospect of getting into that top tier to be able to make it to semi-state. I think we maybe only did it once.
When I arrived in 2012, the band program was one of the largest it had been at the time. So much so that there were a ton of extra people that had signed up for the band program, and almost too many, so not everyone could actually play their instrument at the start. For that first year, I was the shadow of a flute, but I played in the saxophone section. So if you would look at the lineup, it would be all saxophones around and then just a flute.
Of course, we always wanted to make state, but it was more of like I hope that we make it rather than this is what we're going to do in order to make ourselves better to make state finals.
Because I graduated in 2016, we were super close. We thought for sure we would make finals, but we were just short of it.
High school marching band and state finals have been at a prestigious, achievable goal for some, but for most, they just don't get past regionals or semi-state.
We made state finals the first year in 2016. I remember years and years of people just saying, oh, we can't swim with the big dogs. We can't swim with Carmel and Avon and Lawrence and Ben Davis and Center Grove and Castle and Carroll and Homestead. And I'm like, why? Why not?
It was thrilling for everybody. We were just so happy that Fishers had broken through. And that was just the starting point.
The Fishers Band program wouldn't be where it is without our incredible junior high directors. And through the years, we've had a couple different changes, but like Matt Herod and Todd Lehman and Andrew Vile, Chris Dessent. I mean, he's here now, but without those guys, we would not be where we are.
My number one goal is for students to want to continue playing after junior high. And that is in the back of my mind the whole year.
Mr. Herod had a certain enthusiasm about him. He would play Looney Tune type shows and just get you excited about learning music.
Went to Riverside School the first year that it was open. It was my 8th grade year. And so I got to meet Mr. Herod, the band director there, and a lot of the staff that would come over was from the high school. They were really smart and realized that, 8th grade, 7th grade is where all of this begins.
I absolutely believe in what they're doing here with Chad and Chris and their leadership and just the excellent things that they offer. I'm able to say that with sincerity and truth. They are producing at such a high level, and it just makes me a fan and a believer, and I want my students to participate at the high school level.
And we started bringing the marching band to Riverside during their fall concert. We hadn't in the past couple of years, but every time we did, it always planted a seed. And parents and kids remember how loud it was and how big and how shiny and how cool and how red and black. And from that moment, they wanted to be a part of it.
I remember Chad Kohler coming into my class like in junior high when I played clarinet, and that was like when I really realized what it was, because he played like the documentary from the season before, and he was showing it to all of us, and he was like, you should all join.
That's gratifying for me when those seniors have played for 7 years in our band program at Fisher's.
I think this band has been on the road to Grand National Finals for a long time.
When we finally broke in the state finals, well, we've been there every year since, right? And so our next goal was to make Grand National Finals for Bands of America. And people looked at me and thought I was crazy.
Grand Nationals has gotten to be such a competitive environment. You know, making finals, anybody that's there should feel really special about it.
To be considered one of the top bands in the country on any given year is just amazing.
Either way, I knew going into Grand Nats that the season was incredible, and even if we didn't make it, I had nothing to be upset about because we definitely maxed out this show.
I think this year the marching band has reached a new level of dedication than they had before, certainly than from when I was here.
Most of the times, I would be just like, when we're in full rehearsal on the field, I would notice that nobody was talking, and it was just like dead silent, which never happened. Even last year, we were a pretty talkative band.
You know, I remember those early years, even when Shay was performing, we'd go on the field and my inner knower, my gut would go like, they're scared to death to be out here. You know, there was just not a confidence in performance, and they'd be timid, they'd rehearse really well, they'd get in a performance environment and things would get like really timid. The last 3 years, that has not been the case. They are mature, they're confident.
And before you now are the drum majors representing the 34 bands who've achieved what so many others dream of, a position as a semifinalist at the Bands of America Grand National Championships. Announced in random order, our 12 Grand National finalist bands.
They had gotten to the 10th finalist band, and in my head I was like, oh my gosh, like they haven't called William Mason yet.
Finalist number 11, the William Mason High School Marching Band from Mason, Ohio. And our 12th and final finalist band this evening will be the Fishers High School Marching Band from Fishers, Indiana.
That was cruel what they did. I was like waiting there, and once I heard like the 11th name call, I was honestly thinking that we weren't gonna make it. I was like, oh no, like this isn't gonna be good when we have to like get on the bus and go home.
The past few years, we were waiting on pins and needles, waiting at that semifinals call. When they called Fishers last this year, I think everybody's hearts just dropped out of their stomachs.
I was sitting in the director's meeting at 5 o'clock, and I get the word, hey, we're first. So it's 5 o'clock, the kids just heard that we made finals. We have to be in the lot at 6, ready to go, like getting ready to push in. And it was like, there's not enough time for this.
It was really surreal. At first, kind of like leaving the stands from awards and then like going back to the truck, and instead of coming home, like we were unloading the truck again to perform again.
Bands of America is proud to present in Grand National Finals performance, drum makers Kenny Delaney, Jill Hook, Karsten Schick, and Hannah Schultz, and the Fishers Marching Tiger Band.
And I remember hearing, and in finals performance, Fishers High School. And I honestly welled up in tears at that moment in time.
All right, folks, while our finalist bands are assembled here before you, let's hear it another time for the 2022 Bands of America Grand and National finalists and class champion bands.
Join me in congratulating Fishers High School from Fishers, Indiana. The band is under the direction of Mr. Chad Kohler, with assistance from Chris Dessent. Fishers High School, supported by Superintendent Dr. Yvonne Stokes and Principal Mr. Jason Urban. This is their first Grand National Finals experience. Presenting the Fishers High School Marching Tiger Band.
When we were sitting there in awards and they were putting the medals all around us, like I didn't even know they did that, and that was such a special moment.
In 10th place, award presented by David Simons, Music for All Board of Directors, and a score of 89.3. The Fishers High School Marching Band from Fishers, Indiana.
And you get that final break ranks to see all of the kids from all of the finalist bands just go crazy and meet up with each other and congratulate each other.
Go for it! Break ranks!
Those newbies this year who are now veterans, they are the reason why we are where we are. Yes, the veterans had a hand in it. Yes, the section leaders and the drum majors, of course they did. But if we didn't have people receptive enough to learn and grow and build the culture of trust, respect, and excellence and hard work and teamwork and desire and passion and due diligence and blah, 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 we wouldn't have been in the Grand National Finals.
From marching band, I've learned how to get out of my shell more. I've really learned how to be more extroverted, I guess, because I was in a little turtle shell when I first showed up here, and I feel like I've really gotten out of that shell throughout Color Guard.
Kohler always said, if you're 5 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late. And so that was true when you're getting your gear together for marching band, because if the downbeat's at 3 o'clock, you can't be getting your gear on at 3 o'clock. You're going to be late.
When I was a middle schooler, I was very quiet, reserved, and my parents would always say that marching band was the first thing that really allowed me to break down my walls, to perform for the first time, really stand in front of people with confidence.
The first clinic that I went to in May of my 8th grade year, my mom pretty much had to shove me out of the car. And then after that, I had fun at that first one, and I started liking it more.
We're all just really good friends because we share this similar activity. I feel like I could go to any of them for anything, and it's just really nice to have this safety net, especially in school.
I remember my freshman year, right before our first competition, we were on the marching band field practicing, and at the end of practice, he, in front of the whole band, was like, "Hey, I just want to shout out my daughter, Rosie Kohler, standing over there." Everybody turned around and looked at me. He's like, "You're doing such a good job," and I was just kind of standing there like, "Stop talking."
In 2014, I remember being at Grand National Finals with my family, and we had passes to be on the field during retreat. And I just remember seeing when they announced Tarpon as the winner, just the energy that came from them all and just how excited they were. It was a really cool moment because I was like, wow, I really want to be a part of that one day. That would be awesome.
I've always yearned to be a part of a program where the high school bands are elite, and our high school bands are.
I think that it takes everyone working in the same direction in order for a program to succeed at its highest level. That's all the parents, that's all the students, that's all the directors, that's all the staff.
It's so incredible to see that they're competing on a level that I always dreamed of, and I never thought possible with the group that we had. I now see that, that was always building and it was growing, but it brings a lot of joy, a lot of pride to my heart.
It's pretty cool to know that back in when the school first opened, there's people that were in the band that built the foundation so we could be what we are now, and that we wouldn't have made Grand National Finals without them.
Everybody in this world wants to have made a mark in this world. And my small piece of someone's life I'm seeing when they play through high school, and some of them go into music and stuff, and it's like, I can remember when I started that kid on flute.
You might not always remember the show or the theme or where you ended up, whether it be semi-state, state, Grand Nationals, your placement, but you will always remember the people that you did it with. And marching band has brought some of the greatest connections that I've kept in my life.